Hello everyone, MrBlaBlak here. Today with some tips on how to improve your aim in Titanfall, but also in first-person shooters in general. So without anything further to do, let's get started! Before we get into aiming essentials and techniques, I would like to talk a little about equipment. Just like in real-life sports, your gear and its quality is very important. My favorite comparison here is table tennis. Great player will beat average player every time, no matter what paddle does he have. His true potential, however, will be unleashed only with the high-quality one. It doesn't make you become a better gamer. It lets you become a better gamer. Absolutely life-changing is here your monitor. It should be 120 or 144 Hz with a PC that allows you to keep the same FPS in most scenarios. Higher refresh rate makes everything look smoother, which makes easier to read patterns of enemy movement and also slightly improves your reaction time. These two factors are extremely important for a game with so fast time to kill like Titanfall. If you have found this video interesting enough to start watching, I assume that you have already some decent gaming mouse, so I won't develop this theme. There are a lot of YouTube tutorials on how to choose the right sensitivity for the mice and why the low sense is better. Titanfall, however, is a different game than the other first-person shooters on the market. Here, the sensitivity of your mouse depends only on your preferences. You can go extremely high or extremely low. During my experiments with mouse sensitivity, I tried both values and many in between. Low sensitivity benefits are easier and smoother tracking on mid to long range and more consistent short flicks. Weaknesses of low sensitivity are manifested in fast and fierce duels at close range, where it is so much important who can first put his crosshair on the enemy. High sensitivity, on the other hand, facilitates clashing at short distances, increases situational awareness, and helps in moving quickly around the map. Smooth and precise tracking on longer ranges is more difficult, however. The best players can mitigate the disadvantages of their sensitivity, so don't worry, and don't be afraid to experiment. In the description of the video I will leave more thoughts on very specific sense values that I used during my Titanfall journey. Now that we have gone through all organizational matters, we can discuss the most important technique, which executed properly will dramatically improve your accuracy in Titanfall. This technique is called body tracking, and in its design is very simple. You try to move your pilot so that his movement coincides with the movement of the enemy. Like this. Okay, one more time. Look carefully. In the first example, I do not have my right hand on the mouse. All movement is performed by moving left and right on my keyboard. This leaves very little work for our mouse, which needs to make only minor corrections to easily and smoothly track the enemy. Try to abuse this technique as much as you can, that is, whenever your enemy does not move in a straight line. CounterJumping is also very important when we are talking about body tracking. The idea remains the same. When your enemy is performing single or double jump, you try to copy his movement with your own. You should find it handy in 1v1 duels because most often used and most of the time correct reflex reaction when one starts taking bullets is performing single or double jump. Try to use it also when trying to track very fast falling enemy. Personally, I like this technique as a form of defense, but more about this in the future guide. The last one on our list remains CounterStrafing. you can only use this technique in a close range 1v1 scenarios. It's exact opposite of body tracking. From many duels which I carried out, I came to the conclusion that at very close distance very often I happen to follow the opponent perfectly, but 1 mm from his body. It made my tracking still look cool, however totally useless. CounterStrafing is the solution to this problem. When fighting very close, it's hard to keep your aim steady on the opponent. This technique guarantees you that even when you will start missing, when switching directions of your movement, your crosshair will be on the enemy at least for a moment. This may decide whether you lose or win a fight. The next thing that you have to learn are hitboxes of individual pilot classes. From the get-go, each one pilot class have his own individual body model. They differ in appearance and size, but their hitboxes remain the same. Larger models such as a cloak or AWOL can deceive the shooter. While you think that your crosshair is on the enemy, in fact you shoot the air. There is a lot of free space on the back, waist and on the sides of cloak pilot head. Steam pilot hitbox is on the other hand slightly bigger than its visual representation. You can't improve your aim without practice. Just like in my Kraber guide, for the fastest results, I strongly recommend you to give up on melee and ordnance in most scenarios. At the beginning it can be frustrating, because everyone else will use these broken mechanics on you. In time, however, you will realize that there is nothing more satisfying than killing this ready to melee you lunging scrub. Anyways pilots, take care.